Hello everyone, and welcome to my Days of Lives official channel. I hope everyone is having a wonderful day. Before we begin, please hit the subscribe button and give this video a thumbs up. Trip arrives at Wendy's house after a long shift. Since EJ fired her for looking through his phone, she is actively looking for work. While Trip takes responsibility for sending Rafe and Jada after Ava and Harris, she laments the fact that she hasn't even found anything. Wendy believes Rafe warned him that if he didn't provide their whereabouts, he would be arrested. Hedges that Trip. He denies Rafe's threat to send Trask after her before Wendy presses him further. Wendy questions his decision to pick her over his mother. "Because I'm in love with you," Trip replies. Trip informs Wendy, who is in a state of shock, that he has been intending to say that for a while, but he knows from past interactions that she might not respond. He is reassured by Wendy that Allie's silence does not necessarily indicate that she will do the same. In actuality, she can assure him that it won't. Wendy responds, "I love you too, Trip." "I love you," he said. He gets drawn into a passionate kiss by her. Rafe and Jada enter a London hotel room with their pistols drawn but discover it is empty. Jada discovers Ava and Harris forged passports as they are looking. Rafe anticipates that they will ultimately return for them and that they will be prepared. Harris tries to reassure Ava at a cafe as she worries that someone will notice them. Ava also questions why Susan hasn't given them any other signs. Harris discovers crumbs in the shape of the letter E on his pastry dish as she shouts out for Susan. He believes it to be Susan's way of saying hello. What does it mean, wonders a doubtful Ava. Although Harris is unsure as of now, he believes it will be simple to connect the links. Ava catches him having fun. He says, meeting her eyes, "I like doing puzzles with a friend." Rafe makes a flirtatious phone call to Trip as Jada, and he discusses why Ava and Harris are in London. He makes up the fact that Ava and Harris are detained. Trip blatantly states that they rushed to London to look for Susan. Rafe cheerfully admits he lied to Trip about Ava after he has finished explaining everything, then hangs up. Jada expresses skepticism about Susan being alive, but Rafe counters that it's common in Salem for the dead to come back to life. Harris returns the waiter's phone to the table after he has paid the bill. He uses the letter E and Susan's name to search. He seemed to have lost it in Ava's eyes. Ava flippantly advises he add the word crumbs to the search once it is unsuccessful. Harris looks at the figures and says, "Holy cow." He displays Susan and Edmund P. Crumb's long ago wedding notice to her. Philip visits Chloe at her flat to see how she is doing. She acknowledges that she isn't fine, but she will. She finds out that Philip and Sarah were wed, but she also confirms that her wedding to Xander is cancelled. Philip apologizes profusely. He is aware of her genuine concern for him. She sobs as she claims that their relationship was genuine, but that she was aware of his unresolved love for Sarah. She believes Philip is knowledgeable about that. How much of his talk with Rex did she hear, he inquires. She acknowledges that she heard enough to infer that he still might be in love with her. Promises Chloe that he didn't want her to know. He is aware that she will never again love him after what happened with Brady. Chloe isn't entirely certain of that. She lost a piece of herself when she believed he had passed away, but it wasn't until he got back that she realized it. She can't pretend that the part of her that once loved him doesn't still exist, since it has come back to life. Since she was 16 years old, it has existed and will continue to exist. It gets stronger the more time she spends with him. Philip queries, "Are you saying you still have feelings for me?" He prevents her from responding. He does not want her to say anything out of emotion that she may later regret. She assures him that this is not a reactionary response to Xander. She's been experiencing these emotions for some time, and she can see how much Philip has changed. After promising to be there for her constantly, Philip departs. Xander demands to know how Sarah could pass off his child as Rex is outside the pub. She reminds him that they similarly treated Eric. She didn't want to raise issues between Nicole and Eric, so he calls that different. To get back at him, she lied to him about Victoria. Sarah responds that she did it to stop a killer from raising an innocent child. Xander claims that he regrets his part in Susan's death every day as they discuss his transgressions. He nevertheless took the actions he did because he could not stand to let Sarah down, both as a husband and a man. He carried out his duties. She mutters, "So did I, when I decided to name Rex the father of my child rather than you." Rex is described by Xander as a serial adulterer and liar. Sarah is adamant he has changed. He learns from his errors and feels bad about hurting people, unlike Xander. Every day, Xander says again how sorry he is for his role in Susan's demise. She inquires as to whether he regrets taking the Spectator from his best friend, killing Brady and Marlena, or imprisoning Nicole. Despite his long list of transgressions, Xander does not believe that she has the right to deny him the role of father. She must be aware that he wouldn't hurt his own child. He looks at Rex as he leaves the pub and asks sincerely, "You do know that, right?" Rex reminds Xander that Sarah is his wife when he says that he is unconcerned about this. Xander laughs, but Sarah counters that it doesn't matter what he thinks. Rex and she are wed. Then, while he gets to know his daughter, Xander advises her to leave on her honeymoon. He is prevented from entering the pub by Rex. Xander has no legal right to Victoria because Rex is the parent shown on the birth certificate and is married to Sarah. Rex predicts a protracted court battle if he decides to pursue it. Victoria will be the cause for which Xander swears to put up the best battle of his life. There is nothing either of them can do to prevent him from becoming a part of their daughter's life. In the upcoming episode of Days of Our Lives, Sloane asks Melinda for assistance as Ava and Harris get near to finding Susan. Peacock is presently the only place where Days of Our Lives is broadcast. Subscribe to Peacock to ensure you never miss an episode. Please be aware that we might get a small commission from any purchases you make after clicking a link in this article. Since Harris from Days of Our Lives first met Ava in Bayview, there have been many turns and surprises. The biggest surprise wasn't really that Susan wasn't actually killed in the vehicle accident Ava caused. Rather, it was that she was beaming psychic signals to Ava from London. However, the whole England storyline may have given longtime fans a hint that Edmund P. Crumb was somehow connected to Susan's whereabouts, and Days of Our Lives did in fact confirm this with the psychic Crumb message Ava received on the episode that aired on September 27. Simply accept it, don't question it. But if you're perplexed about Edmund's identity, or the reason Days showed us a wedding notice between him and Susan, who was at the time portrayed by Eileen Davidson, don't worry. In a nutshell, Adam Kane's character Edmund is Susan's husband, or was the husband of Susan. When Susan was escaping from the Demura clutches with tiny baby Elvis Jr., Marlena and John introduced them for the first time over in England. The two fell in love right away, but when word of their relationship reached Kristen, she abducted Susan and sold her into a harem while Edmund was away in London, purchasing an engagement ring. Penelope, Susan's identical sibling, was mistakenly declared dead, and Kristen assumed Susan's identity and wed Edmund as a result. But eventually, the real Susan got her freedom, got her love back, and got married to him for good. She then went back to England and lived happily ever after. The couple's final on-screen appearance occurred in 1998, and Susan didn't return until after EJ died in 2014. Susan went into a tailspin after the death of her beloved Elvis Jr. She then asked Dr. Rolfe to resurrect Will in order to exact revenge on Sami, which cost her the marriage to Edmund. Back in 2017, while she was living in Memphis with Elvis impersonator Roger and Will, who believed he was her son, EJ, that was the last time we really heard of him. We can somewhat comprehend Edmund's disinterest in the entire setup, but now that he's returned, it appears as though Ava and Harris will soon cross paths with him, which could ultimately shed light on Susan's situation. Thanks for watching. If you like this video, so please don't forget to subscribe my channel and don't miss any update.